Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council budget hearings. This evening, we have three committees that are going to be running the hearings, but I'd like you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first hearing will be run by the Chair of the Public Utilities Committee, Irene Soriento.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and do a roll call here. So Councilmember Casey,
Here.
Councilmember Vera,
Present.
Council President ex officio Steele.
Present.
I'm also here, Councilmember Soriento. Also present with us is Councilmember Keel.
Here.
Councilmember Speen McLaren. Councilmember Brosnan. And also with us, we have our Deputy Mayor Seamus Donnelly and Andrew Golden from Public Utilities. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I'll give you the floor to take it away. We also have Gabrielle Mahoney here, our city treasurer.
Not anymore. She's the Director
And-
of Finance and Resources now.
Director of Finance and Resources, and also with us is Mayor Mantello. All right.
Here. You got it. Well.
Yep. Take your time. We're good.
Thank you. Got it. Thank you, Council Member Soriento, who only has a couple months left on the council. I just wanted to open it to first, I'm not sure you introduced everyone. Real quickly, I did want to, do you have my sheet? Awesome. I did just want to talk about public utilities quickly. Andrew and Seamus and Gabrielle chip in. But as you know, the lead pipe replacement program, huge priority. I've said it probably 100 times, no parent, no grandparent, no person should be afraid to turn that tap on and have lead in that water. And we know that our water is second to none, but we also know that there's lead pipes out there. I want to commend the folks around me for making this a priority. Also, our just a couple updates. Our inventory continues to rise. I'd be shocked if we weren't in the top 4 or 5 in the state. Where's our? Hold on one sec. We are up to over 67% now in our inventory, which is huge. As you know, we were kind of hovering over the 50%. But saying that the grant that we received for $500,000 and a couple other grants have opened the door to contractors who are doing what's called potholing, and you've seen them on various streets where they're able from the outside to detect lead pipes, are door to door. We did do door to door a couple times, even after council member Spain McLaren joined us one time. And Andrew and Seamus and myself, the door to door was fabulous. We had public utilities folks on site, literally there to test folks. Councilmember Casey and I went door to door about a week and a half ago for lead pipe replacement to remind folks. And just that night alone, I believe, Tom, we were able to get 4 or 5 folks to call the number that Tom was given. So door-to-door campaign. Also, in-house staff was and is, I believe, using AI for lead pipe for the inventory and to detect lead pipe. To date, we have replaced over 508 lead pipes, and that number will continue to rise. As many folks know, we received the grant for close to $13 million. That grant, many folks felt you can just, after the grant is accepted, put in the money, replace the lead pipe, and ask Department of Health to fund and reimburse that particular lead pipe. That's not how it works. It's a very complex process. CDM, which is our outside contractor, and in-house staff, as mentioned many times, the EFC and DOH, those grants do not turn around quickly. So as you know, we did a bond for some lead pipe replacement. The bonding is part of that grant. More importantly, it literally, and Andrew can certainly talk to you outside of here, more in the weeds on the process in terms of DOH and DOH signing off for the actual RFP that goes out the door. It literally took 6 months, back and forth, paperwork, et cetera, to actually get approval to put the RFP for the additional contractor out the door. The good news, we've hired the contractor, we've awarded that project, and they will be out before the end of the year. So we will have Fane, who, if you recall, recognizing that the DOH process is very complex. We funded more money to keep Fane going. So Fane is continuing to replace lead pipes. The new contractor is coming on board. We will continue replacing lead pipes until the ground freezes. Fast forward, the good news now that DOH has approved that one RFP, I believe it's an RFP, not P, correct? Now that DOH has approved that, the next RFP will be that much quicker. So next year, we will have 2 full-fledged contractors out and about in the spring replacing lead pipes. You've probably seen in the Berg, we literally went about 14 blocks on 7th Avenue. That will be milled and paved now that those lead pipes have been replaced. So in the spring, we'll have 2 full-fledged contractors. We'll be starting to dip in to those funds that were awarded to us, which is fabulous. It's going to go quickly. Next year, we anticipate both contractors, we're thinking easily over 500 to 600 lead pipes will be replaced, bringing us over 1,000, 1,100. That is incredibly, in our world, outstanding. What else did I want to brief you on? let's see, we're up on the east side right now. We're doing side streets. And I really want to commend Seamus, Chip, Andrew, the folks at DPU, Joe Maz. Just the coordination is not easy between National Grid out there, between our milling and paving program and the lead pipe replacement. Think about it. If the weather if it rains, you're delayed a day. If you hit a complex lead pipe, that could take all day. It could take 2 days. So saying that, they have just done an outstanding job with the milling and paving, coordinating that with the lead pipe replacement. And I can't say enough about just that coordination. But the lead pipe replacement, I did want to give you an update on that. Andrew will give an update on some other programs that we've implemented. And we'll go over the capital plan at the capital plan meeting. So we won't go into the capital plan projects this evening. But saying that once again, between the potholing, we could not be more proud where we are right now. So potholing alone, we did almost 1,900 lead pipe replacement detections. Saying that out of the 1,900, 83 leaks and 157 outside lead pipe. So saying that, folks have really worked tirelessly on the lead pipe replacement program, which continues to be an absolute huge priority. And we aren't going to stop until we finish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just ask a quick question
Council Member Casey?
about the lead? You said you're in Seventh Avenue, and the only question I had is, what's prioritizing? I would assume hotspots where there's a concentration. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, if you recall, the whole idea is to be efficient and to hit as many as we can at one time. So what we try to do is hit the cluster spots. So Seventh Ave, a lot of older homes, that was hit. We're done on there. Now we're up on the east side doing side streets. And you will see from time to time a one-off. That's if there's a leak, an emergency, and then we'll hit that one off. But to mobilize, it does take time, it takes money. So saying that the whole idea is to hit hotspots with clusters.
Alongside with
Yeah.
like coordinating with the paving, right? Because obviously alongside with coordinating with the paving, because we don't want to pave first and then have to rip up the roads to replace the lead pipes.
And yeah,
And
that's why I was saying the coordination of that.
Yeah.
It's key. You will see though, time to time, an emergency, where we may have to do one off in
Yeah.
a spot like that. But the whole idea is to hit the clusters, coordinate the milling and paving. And as I said earlier, the DOH plan, that plan, they want us to concentrate on clusters. So what you will see when the RFP goes out is a particular area and areas included in that RFP.
Okay.
So, Seamus, Andrew, they really have done a phenomenal job just continuing to stay on the contractor to make sure that the contractor continues moving. I did want to add one thing. I have been getting Councilmember Soriento calls about the potholing, and Louise is doing the potholing from time to time. They may leave, because they go into the sidewalk. You'll see various sidewalks where it's coned off. They are through that contract coming back. They will obviously repair that area.
Mhm.
A couple areas, there might be an outside lead pipe. If there is lead in the outside pipe, sometimes they will temporarily repair that sidewalk, because to repair it fully, we'd be digging it back up and we have to go outside. So we are connecting, communicating that to various homeowners who might, see maybe a temporary patch, call us, have issues, obviously be upset. Long story short, Louise will be back to that site.
Okay.
And
good
if
to
we
know.
do have to go into the outside, it will be on that list.
Okay.
So, but saying that, did I miss anything? Anything? Oh, gosh, yeah, yes, and prioritizing, obviously, if children are in the household, if there's a leak, obviously, emergency. So that, cluster is not just about efficiency and about getting it done quickly. It's also, where are there numerous families? So all of that is looked at when looking into those clusters and addressing lead pipe replacement. So like I said, no parent should be afraid to turn their water on. And once again, it's not our water, but it is the pipes that hold the water.
Yeah.
So, and the Brita filters are still available. We're still handing them out. And we encourage anyone and everyone, please, if you haven't been tested, contact DPU. It's on the website. I know our council members are door to door, et cetera. Very, very important. We want 100%, to be hovering close to 70, over 68%. That's just absolutely incredible from where we were.
Yeah.
So
So
really
we're
good
at
work.
68 to 70%
68.7, I believe,
of
right?
the
Yeah.
inventory.
Yeah, 68.8 now. Just continues to go up.
Okay, good, good.
And it does. I'm sorry. Thank you, Seamus. That inventory, obviously, and thank you for saying that. We are not going to stop also. We're very aggressive applying for various grants, federal, state, you name it. That 13 million you'll see in the capital plan, and obviously we'll talk about that. But talking about tonight, everything continues to rise, costs continue to rise, labor, equipment, you name it. So we have that 13 mil. That's going to go like that
Yeah.
next year. So we, in CDM and Andrew, we are applying, I believe, potentially next year for another grant. We
Good.
applied for a second round, so we're not stopping applying for grants. We're very aggressive. Those funds obviously are key. Otherwise, we'll have to bond because we are committed to paying for those lead pipes, and folks are not going to have to pay. So it's critical. It's public safety. It's public health. And we'll continue applying for grants. But like I said, that 13 mil is going to go quick. So
Yeah.
hopefully Senator Schumer can come to the rescue again and visit Troy and bring home some bacon for Troy. So, but we are not going to stop applying for funds.
Now I have a question.
And I
Out of the-
apologize. The inventory fuels our grant application for those funds.
Good. So out of the 68%, how many came back with lead pipes, showing that they have lead pipes?
Go ahead.
Right now, we have known lead services, 1,483 of them. 6,900 or so have been verified non-lead.
Okay.
So they're copper, most likely copper. I think there's one or two plastic ones that snuck in on us somewhere that we've found over the years, but that's not in the rules and regulations. It should be copper. But as of right now, and then we have 3,867 that are still unknown. So we're trying to get in those basements and we'll
Yeah.
find all of them. So.
Madam Chair.
So do you see Andrew sneaking in your basement?
Right.
And saying that the 60, a little humor, but quickly, the 1,483 that have been verified, you figure 68%, you do the math, maybe We're estimating 3,000 to 3,400, depending what comes in, that other 32%. So, based on that kind of trend in percentage, but we'll see. And, once again, we are not just door to door, we're putting PSAs out there. You folks obviously have gotten the word out there, but these 3,800 or so folks, we really need them to step up and be tested.
Chair.
Councilmember Vera.
The count that you just provided, is that the complete line? Is that the public and private side, or are you counting each of those separately?
Counting them separately here on the
Okay,
dashboard.
so what were those numbers again?
So on the private side, it's 1,483. And I'll make one note about that too. That number seems to remain pretty static. I've noticed as I've been doing this with this program over the past couple of years, because we replace, if we find 2 or 3 every day and then we replace 2 or 3 every day, the number kind of just doesn't jump in either direction quickly. And then the private, like the copper ones, 6,900 of those, and then 3,860 or so that are still unknown, and that's strictly on the private side, like in basement inspections and based off the work cards.
How many was that?
3,860.
So how many replacements was it?
580.
Yeah, that we've done to date.
And and when we count 508, that's a private or a public, or both, like private and public?
Right. That's so the 508 is like the total address. So that's
Okay.
yeah. Right, exactly. So whether you have if you have a inside and an outside, it's not counting as 2. Right.
Okay, so we've replaced 508 lead pipes and we have 1,483 lead pipes on the inventory right
Right.
now. So
If
we found almost 2,000 lead pipes.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
And I can give you one more statistic on that. Full lead service lines were 182, 157 strictly outside services, and then 169 were just inside only replacements.
Chair.
Councilmember Keel.
I have an interesting question, and when I was living in Bern and they were doing explosives in the ground, and before they did that, they actually checked the entirety of my house for cracks. And the reason for that is if there were any lawsuits, because I came up with there's a crack,
Right. Okay.
So I'm curious if you do anything in that regard to take pictures of before you start the project of the sidewalks and what's there.
Yeah, that's a great question. We take like a before picture before we start digging, or before we pothole even. We'll take pictures, and then we do an afterwards picture for restoration. Just to kind of show what we left the place looking like when we take off to the next address. But the one thing about the grant funding is there's a whole host of pictures that are required through the BIL grant. It's 18 different pictures.
Okay.
So it's an impressive amount of documentation, pictures of the, before we pothole, after we pothole, pictures of the service connection at the main, pictures of the connection to the meter inside, pictures of the, where we came through the basement wall or floor, before and after. So yeah, there's 18 or 20 separate pictures that are required for that.
The reason I ask is actually I just sent the mayor and Joe Mazzarelli pictures of a sidewalk that just sunk, according to the constituents,
Mhm.
2 inches.
Okay.
And that's I just wanted to. It's good to know that you have.
Yes.
It protects the city from lawsuits, that kind of, or
Yes.
extra work that we shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah.
Chair, I would suggest we move forward on the summary of revenues. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Page 211.
Thank you.
Did you have some remarks? I just had a question. We had talked briefly, I think it was mentioned at one point about renegotiating some of the contracts with the towns. I don't know where we're at as far as contracts expiring, but I just wanted to know, had that started yet? Was it possible to start yet or anything? Just to update.
So it is something that we're going to be looking into. It's a bit of DPU, the law department, looking through the contracts, comptroller's office as well. It's something that we really do want to dive in, head first for next year, because I think everybody would agree as well that, we want to get to the point that no outside communities paying less than a Troy resident or taxpayer. Some of the agreements are for 50 years, they were like very long terms. And there's definitely a way to tighten some of that up without, pushing away communities that purchase our water as well. But there's a way to make it equal and fair. I think the goal really should be, and some might have this already, but to that, anytime our water rate increases, the other municipalities should see that too, or at least that it never goes below that. But that is something that's a top priority. And just on that topic, and I mean, Andrew could get into it from a little bit more of a technical standpoint, and DPU, and credit to them, Andrew, and our project supervisors, Christine, Jake. We've looked at meter replacements, and some of the current municipalities, they provide their own count. They've been doing that for years of what water that they're receiving. So upgrading those meters at different points with the municipalities, those outside communities, updating the contracts, making sure that there's a proper meter, all those things are going to be part of that comprehensive approach to get us where we need to be.
Yeah. Well, I think you might not get to exact rate because, you're selling in bulk. And of course, they have their own water departments. They have to fund, employees and repairs and stuff. But yeah, it'd be nice to look, especially this 50-year contract, Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Chair,
Councilmember Vera?
have we made any progress on that over the last year? New meters and things like that? Because I think we were talking about that a year ago, right?
Yeah. So with the new meters we have, and
For the municipal bill.
and Andrew can answer that with the meters.
Yeah, so we've been going to a bunch of different places, and I've been talking to a lot of the different townships because it's a complicated meter process, especially with like the town of Brunswick. There's 4 or 5 different meters, like on South Lake. Yeah, we're metering water exiting our system. It goes down South Lake to Route 2 and then comes back into our system. And we have to, detract for all the homes in that area in between the two services. So just getting those meters operational. We talked to Keith Hankel in North Greenbush. They had one of their meters that was being estimated for, I think it was like 6 to 8 years or something like that. And that meter got replaced just this summer. So we're kind of, getting back on track with them. And then the other communities, we're looking at having a few more meters for Manans, and then how we're, metering water going over to Waterford and Half Moon.
When that happens, what are we finding with the new meter? How are the estimates?
The estimates were so Manans is actually on brand for what they're metering, what their estimation is. Brunswick was pretty good. In North Greenbush, I haven't seen what the new read is yet. We haven't been out there to read that.
So I see that for the village of Manans and the town of Waterford, we're projecting a decrease in revenue. Is that, do they have another source of water that they're moving to, or is that just?
They take water from Saratoga County.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how it blends our water with their water, but I know that they have a second tap, and they've been using, over the past couple of years, they've been using that source.
If you recall, after that major water main break in North Lansingburg at 125th
Mhm.
they began that process to tap into that.
Waterford, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't we put a line under the river for them too, didn't we? Yeah. Chair, I did have two other questions on revenues if I
Floor's
keep
yours.
going. All right. I see that for debt service, other governments, it's the last line under home and community service. Actual receipts in 23 and 24 were 0. But we're still showing 320,000 in revenue. Is that just an accounting?
No, that's they put a calculation together, I believe, I don't know when exactly. There's some paperwork that started to, based on the first phase of the transmission line, correct, Andrew? And the plan is to eventually, because there's yet to be another phase, but plan is to get out there this year and bill them for the phase one for their share of the debt service that was attributed to the bonding for that project.
Oh, so those are funds due to the city from other governments? Okay,
Correct.
for that
Just had-
particular
yeah,
project.
Correct.
So the amount being carried over, it's because we didn't take that in 25.
Correct.
Okay.
But that should be an annual payment moving forward. Again, have to go through the metrics. I haven't seen we've seen some of the paperwork, but yeah, got
Is
it.
that 25-year financing, 30 years, something like that, or?
I'm sure it's extensive for a
Okay.
water project, but I don't have the specs on that in front of me. Sorry.
Okay. And then I had the same question. I lost my line here. There was another revenue item that I saw. that was-
Interest and earnings.
Thank you. Interest and earnings. Yeah, 0 for 23, 0 for 24.
Correct. That's
Is that a similar?
it's the accounting in the last 2 years, I'm guessing, where they weren't picking up any interest or attributing or reallocating the interest to the appropriate fund.
Okay.
So we're going to try to straighten that
Oh,
out.
so that's
moving
interest
forward.
earned on revenue generated by the water fund that's supposed to stay in the water fund.
Correct.
Chair?
Council President?
Yeah. Does it work both ways? Do we owe other communities money as on that transmission project as well, or other water projects?
I'd have to assume not, being that we've fronted the whole deal.
No.
It's a one-way street. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? All right, we'll move.
Chair?
Yes.
Very quickly, I found my notes from last year. I ran in here quickly, as you know. At the public utilities last year, just to give you an idea, litmus test. Last year, we had over 350 lead pipes replaced. We're at 54% with the inventory. So we've increased that inventory by close to obviously 13%.
Awesome. Thank you.
Chair, sorry. So we've replaced 150 pipes this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, remember, like I said, the DOH process was extremely cumbersome. It took 6 months, or maybe even more to get that approval. So like I said, next year, we should be able to hit over 600 between the two.
So we'll go to appropriations now. Do you have any questions on appropriations? Page 212.
Chair.
Councilmember Vera?
For DPU garage, employee benefits, Is that's cut in half from last year? It was 162,000 last year. It's 72,000 this year. What is that attributed to?
I do believe we had, two people working in the garage last year at this time, and now there's only one person down there. Chuck Centenny retired.
Oh, okay. So it's a staff cut. We looking to hire that position back? We just haven't yet, or?
Yeah, I'd like to get a second person in there.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? All right. Turn the page. All right, so we'll start with the expenditures. Page 214. For public utilities garage. Do we have any questions on this page? All right,
Fair.
Councilmember Rivera.
Health insurance seems to have gone down, but it seems to be in line with where it was in 24. But this year we had 123,000 budgeted, and now we have 34,000. What was that jump?
Definitely not a subtraction from the.
So the way that this is budgeted is that we go through how many employees are in family or single and what the percentage of contribution they pay and the city pays. So I don't know who retired and what plan they were in or who was there before last year. But we went through the numbers again this year to see what plans they're in, and that's what you're seeing for this budget.
And you'll see, in 2024, 37 change. So it was at that number at that time.
Okay. Moving on to page 215. Do we have any questions?
Chair,
Council President?
would you please explain the salary savings?
So the salary savings in this budget code is for the auto mechanic helper is deferred to April of 26.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair,
Councilmember Brosnan?
do you know how long these positions have been vacant? Roundabout?
Yeah, not long, probably. See, 3 months.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, maybe not even 3 months. Yeah.
Chair?
Councilmember Farah?
Oh, I know what the answer is going to be to this. Oh, I'm going to ask it anyway because I started. The senior auto mechanic last year was budgeted at 69,000, but that's because of step increases, right? Right. Right. So then right. Okay.
Yeah, he had worked here since like 1995 or something. So
He was,
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
I got you. All right.
Right. Do we have any questions on page 216? We'll go to 217. Any questions on page 217? Okay, we'll go to page 218, or 219. Any questions on page 219, Public Utilities Administration?
Chair.
Councilmember Brazen?
Prior encumbrance for permanent salaries, 208,000. We're budgeting for 398,000. What's the jump there?
So there's a few things that are going to contribute to that jump. We had the CSEA contract that was settled this year. So that's going to show the it's going to have an increase, the 2025 increase, and then the 2026 increase on top of that. And I can just jump right into the next question. There's also step increases for one of the positions in that office. One of the GIS technicians is getting a step increase.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair,
Councilmember B. McLaren?
is the clothing allowance the same? Is that the same reason for that jump? Because the contract included more? Okay.
Probably for the boot allowance and those fun things. Okay. Okay.
All right, do we have any other questions?
Chair,
Council President?
just to clarify, the current budget column also reflects the 2025 CSEA contract.
Yes, so I'll tell you what I did. The current budget is showing what they're receiving currently in 2025. So it does reflect the increase that they got in 2025, effective July 1. So it's not going to match last year's budget because it's reflecting their current 2025 salary amount.
But that means there's about 50 some odd increase for 26. That's, you're saying attributable to the step increase and further CSEA impact alone?
Yeah, yeah.
So I may need to correct what I just said. The page that you're looking at is 219, right?
Right.
Okay. So that is showing the current budget amount that's in KVS. If you look at the detail of the positions, which is a separate file that we update that gets put into this, that is reflecting the salaries with the raise. So I apologize. I misinformed you before.
Yeah, well, then I go back to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Okay.
if I
Councilor
understand.
Rivera?
Oh, thank you, Chair. My apologies. So the current salaries of 234 are what's in the budget. Then if I flip over to 222, there's a current salary column that totals to 292. That includes the.
That's correct.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And then the reason, if I'm not mistaken here, the reason for the jump is we actually remove the superintendent of public utilities, or we defund it. It actually says 0, so that would be removing it, right? And then we add in the director of public utilities at a 45,000-ish jump, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, yes,
Yeah.
the director of public utilities, it was a classification with civil service. If you recall, the superintendent of public utilities was
It was,
put
part-
in,
it was, part-
it was
yeah.
budgeted in, we had to make a, it was budgeted in the 102, I think it was 102 line last year, 112, I'm sorry, the 112 line last year, which has now been zeroed out. And that amount is now reflective in the salary of the Director of Public Utilities.
Okay. So then the Director of Public Utilities is a new position. Right?
It's an existing position in 2025 because it went through civil service to be
Okay.
reclassified. So yes, which is why you're not seeing the plus or minus because it's the current 2025.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Gotcha. Okay. And we're keeping the Superintendent of Public Utilities on the books, but we're not funding it.
correct.
Chair.
Council President?
So is the Director of Public Utilities currently filled?
It is currently vacant.
Thank you.
We have had a few people apply. We just haven't found the right person yet. So if you know anyone interested, it's posted. It's out there. So please.
All right. Move along to page 220. Do we have any questions on 220? Okay.
Chair.
Councilmember Brazen?
Utilities, telephones. Prior year encumbrance was $41,728. We budgeted this year for 30,000. First 6 months is 17,292, which is gonna be more than 30,000. Are we going with the 30,000 for the 2026 as well?
Yes, yeah, for now, yes.
Okay.
401. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions on page 220? All right, we'll go to 221. Any questions on 221 for Social Security and dental insurance? I'm seeing that for the dental, it's decreasing.
Again, it's whoever's enrolled in
Gotcha.
family, single. It
Yeah.
depends on what the current
Okay.
employees are in.
So we'll go to 222. Any questions on 222? You pretty much already discussed a lot of this. Great. All right, we'll go to pumping station 223, 224. Any questions on that? Okay, we'll go to purification. Page 226.
Chair.
Councilmember Casey?
I see 305. It's obviously a new line. I know about the chemicals. There was a lot of talk about last budget. Concerns about the skyrocketing price of the chemicals and everything. I guess we made out. Just the reasoning behind separating out, was it clarity? And how do you feel about the price of chemicals? And do you feel they've stabilized now? And this is a good number?
So I guess to answer the second part first, I feel pretty good about the prices because in the contracts we do for the water treatment chemicals, there's a clause to extend. So I just put everything out for a new price last year. So, and I've already had one, JCI Jones, our chlorine supplier, they've already reached out. They want to extend the current pricing into next year. And I'm going to try to get everyone else on board with that. So prices should remain pretty, stagnant for the next year. And then we'll see next October when I
Yeah.
go to put out a new bid.
Nothing's going down though, right?
No, it won't ever go down, but I'm happy if it stays the same. And as far as I think it's going to be easier for us and myself and Marion and Nate and everyone at the plant and in the comptroller's office will have a dedicated line just for water treatment chemicals, the same way we would for gas or electric or propane.
Sure.
All come out of their own different buckets. So
Thank,
Any other questions on 226? Okay, we'll move along to 227. Do we have any questions on page 227?
Chair,
Council President?
can you identify the consultant services and what specifically that is for?
Consultant services for purification would be some of the funding for CDM Smith for some of their engineering services for like the corrosion control project. We have other various like smaller engineering services that we might need, or if we need to hire like a professional, like an example, last year there was a 480 volt electrical line that was buried that we needed to find. That we didn't have exactly like we had like a hand drawn record of, and we were able to bring in like a consulting company to come in and find the line. And services like that cost maybe $3,000 or $4,000, and it's just to kind of cover some of those smaller engineering tasks.
Thank you.
All right. Go on to page 228. Do you have any questions on the salaries? Okay, we'll go to page 229. Continuation of the salaries.
Chair, I just wanted to ask, are there any deferments here? No.
No, not in that.
So the
Budget line.
salary savings is from vacancies?
No, contractual step increases. So going from like a 1 year, step 1 to a step 5 or 5 to it's based on the CSEA schedule or salary schedule.
The savings?
Yeah, so we budget at the higher amount
Okay,
and then they're not going to make that all year long. So I actually took the 2026 January amount and figured it out from that date until they reach their date where they're going to make the amount that's showing in the budget.
thank you.
Yep.
Chair. Oh, sorry.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No.
He gave it to me.
Councilmember Barrett.
Am I correct? There's no vacancies in this department currently?
I do believe we're all filled up in 8330. Yeah, we have
Nice.
a full staff of operators, full staff of maintenance.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, because if it was a vacancy, the current salary would say 0. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Sure.
Councilmember Casey.
I'm gonna just bounce for a second because I lost my place and I went between the two. There was some monies, if you could tell me what line for the lagoons, I think it was 450, there was money?
yeah, I think that's in the capital plan.
Oh, okay, it was,
Yep.
it was in the capital plan.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
wonder why I couldn't find it.
All right. We'll go on to transmission, page 231. Do you have any questions on page 231? Okay. We will go on to page 232. Do you have any questions on 232? Okay. Go on to page 233. Any questions on the salaries?
Chair.
Councilmember Vera.
So in this department, we've got several vacancies. Was that correct?
4, I
Okay,
do believe.
6,
6?
2 laborers, a radio dispatcher. Yeah,
Yep.
2 water maintenance person ones, and then a water maintenance person.
Yes.
Okay. I guess how's retention in that department? Are these like retirements? Or are these people that are coming in, staying for a year or two and then?
We've had 1 or 2 people that have left. None this year. We've actually held on to everyone that's there all year. We're just trying to find the right person to come in. Those are all CDL required positions besides for the 2 laborers. And I do believe those were deferred until June of last year when we did the budget last go around. So then all the other ones from say water maintenance person, senior water maintenance person, those are all CDL B license. We just haven't really gotten any applications for those.
So those positions require a CDL and pay under 50,000 a year?
Correct.
Very good.
All right, do we,
Mayor,
Councilmember?
can I just ask you, I know that there's at least one person I spoke to. They were fixing a hydrant. And they said they were enrolled in some type of program where their CDL was being either paid for or reimbursed. I believe it was by the county. Is that available to more hires? Or you're looking at that, or you just want to grab people that already got it? I can understand that too.
Yeah, I think one of the requirements is to come in with it, but I think one of the things for the grade 8, the water maintenance person, one of the stipulations is you need to require, well, you have up to a year to gain the Class B license. So you can come in with like the permit for it. And then as long as you get that within the first year, then you're retained. And I think the gentleman you're referring to, yeah, he applied for a grant through the county. I'm not sure if there's more funding available, but they're paying for him to go get the license, which is nice.
Yeah.
The real challenge is keeping these folks. And, we've talked about that, like we'll train them and then potentially move on. You can't make them, we've talked about maybe a 2-year kind of type of clause, but just, yeah. The union actually shut that down. So it's difficult. We train them and then they go for, tens of thousands more dollars. So, but saying that, we have a great partnership with the county. They're helping us on several fronts of workforce development. And Brian over in the workforce development for the region. And as you know, putting kids to work and trying to get some folks to get CDLs. So, but coming in with the CDL is more valuable.
Chair.
Councilmember Vera?
I see 60,000 in salary savings, or is that, I know it's a big department, but are anyone deferred or?
Yeah, there are a few deferrals. 2 labor positions are deferred until July 2026. And then one of the senior water maintenance person one is deferred until April of 26.
I guess, Andrew, this is for you. That radio dispatcher position, hasn't that been vacant for several months at this point? Or am I mistaken?
No, you're correct. Yeah, that position's been vacant. We have someone that's kind of doing double duty right now, answering the phones, and also doing some of the water meter, billing and things like that.
So is that position, that's forward facing, right? That's when I call the water department, that's who would answer the phone?
Correct. Between 7 and 3:30, anytime after that, the phone calls go up to the water treatment plant, to the
Yeah.
plant operators.
So do they don't manage calls between staff members then? It's taking calls from the public?
Exactly. That
Okay,
would be, and like, an example of that after hours would be, we'd get a phone call about like, hey, there's a sinkhole or a depression in the road, or there's someone hit a fire hydrant, and there's water blowing up in the air. That person would call us at the treatment plant, and then we have a dispatch sheet. We have on-call people for water and sewer every week that they would call the staff member and alert them, and then they would go check out the problem and then get a hold of their supervisors and if necessary.
thank you.
Chair.
Councilmember,
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Could we, I meant to ask this earlier. Could we go back to 231 just for a second?
231?
Yes. Item 417 at the bottom of the page, contributions to other fund. I don't know if that's supposed to be general fund or GE. But 2024, we encumbered 1.4 mil. We didn't budget anything, and now for 6 months, we spent $250,000 and don't have it budgeted for 2026.
Looks like. Hello. Okay, now as far as the entry or the first 6 months encumbrance, I believe that was a BST entry, just hitting the wrong account from the. So that, I don't know where the other million, that 1,475,000 has got to be sitting somewhere else. I don't know exactly where it is right now. But that's clearly there because we have a revenue stream in the general fund to accommodate that. But to answer the one question, that's just we'll reclass that to the appropriate account. Just curious whether.
But there's not, so is the whole line correct? I mean, assuming it's just a line that belongs somewhere else that we haven't budgeted for next year.
That one. But we didn't. But we didn't budget. There's nothing in the 26. Right, I don't know.
It's
It's left. Yeah, that's under the 8310 line. Contributions to other funds. In the administration portion. That's where it was last year as well.
Okay.
So it looks like they're just doing a mix and match on the lines. They've been dropping this in over the last 3 years.
And, on that LBST, put, some funds in different accounts, and now Mike is, putting them in the accurate account.
Chair,
Councilmember Vera?
it looks like that actually happened last year as well, that misclassification. but it shows up in two locations. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
clearly budgeted. I just want to make sure we have $1.5 million.
No,
budgeted
so
appropriately.
then on the summary sheet for the account, what were we just 8340? That first sheet shows
Under code
prior
4.
prior year encumbrances of 3.7 million, and then we're only budgeting 2.6. But that's because that $1 million line item is in there. Is that?
I'm sorry, which page you on? Yes,
I'm on 232. I see prior year encumbrances for 8340, 3.7 million,
okay,
but then we only have 2.6 budgeted.
That's because that's there.
there you go. Yeah,
Okay.
that's yes.
Another example of all these folks. I mean, it's a no, I know Mike had mentioned early on too about how there's all these various different accounts. So if you're BST, and although you can put it in a 400 line and it's appropriate, it might not be what historically was done in Troy, that it would actually find its way actually funded in another line. So that prior encumbrance is 2024. I think that's what throws it off. That's why there's 0 in there now. And yeah.
Right. So when that's corrected, does your,
Clarence?
oh, sorry. When that's corrected, does that automatically then recalculate this? So that, on the,
When it comes to the prior year encumbrance part with the prior year encumbrance number.
but even the budget amount, like it's all off. Like, Councilman Vera was just saying on 232, the subtotals for the major code are including,
What the prior year encumbrance obviously isn't going to change because that's done.
right,
But
but what the recommended,
It's going to stay where it's currently, but it's been budgeted in the same place the last 2 years, I believe, in that contribution to other funds line. The change will be,
okay,
the
I
change
see.
will be that post
It's
that
on
you
the other
see in
one. Okay,
the 6-month figure.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, 233 and page 234. Do we have any questions on that? We kind of went over it, that some of the positions were going to be deferred in July of 2026. We said 2 in April of 2026 also, or was that just 1? 1, okay. We have any questions on that? All right, then we're gonna go to page 236. Public utilities, other water. Do we have any questions on page 236? All right, we'll go to page 237. Any questions on the salaries for page 237? I'm assuming because they're not zeroed out that they are full. Okay, they're occupied. 238. Any questions on that? Page 239, workers' comp. Do we have any questions on page 239? Okay. Let's see here. Page 241. Can you just explain about the capital fund here? Current budget 725, 500. And now the recommendation for 2026 is 0.
I honestly don't know at this point. I have to look into that, why that's in the current budget.
Okay. Last year. Because it was zero, in 2024.
It was apparently so. Well, nothing expended there anyway.
Okay.
It has a very small post there, but we'll look
Yeah.
into that and get back to you on that.
Okay. Do we have any questions on 241? All right, we'll go to page 243.
It must have transferred it during the year.
With sewer.
But for what? I only asked that.
Chair. I'm sorry.
Councilmember Spain McLaren.
Just looking at the 2025 budget, that whole line is zeros. So it's showing first 6 months, 1,700, last 6 months, 723,000. So
241.
we must have moved the money from somewhere, but I don't,
What did we purchase?
we're looking at the capital fund still. Where you said that you weren't sure why it was under current budget, and I just looked at the budget, the current budget, and it's all zeros. So it must have been moved.
I'm sorry, what you saw what now? I'm sorry.
So line 900, the capital
Yeah.
fund, you just mentioned that you're not sure why that is that 725 mil, or I'm sorry, 725,000 is in the current budget. I just looked at the same line in this year's budget and it's all zeros. So it must have been moved from somewhere. I'm just wondering if we know from where.
Do you want to?
So looking at the account, there was an ordinance 30 on June 16th of 2025 where $550 was appropriated. I don't know of more than that right now, but it was something that would have been passed. And then you do know? Okay. And then 175.5 on May 1st, 2025, ordinance 19.
Right, so the first one there, the $550,000 was for the DPU backhoes and trucks and cars for the water plant.
Okay.
Show that each fund into the. It shows that way because you're really actually moving out of the H fund, the capital projects funds into the water fund, or it could have also been, I can't recall off the top of my head if part of it was unappropriated funds that went in there too. So that's why it shows it. So that's why it's not budgeted. It was one of those, if you recall, when we came to the council with some of those different capital projects and
Yeah.
car purchases. So
That
I
we
think
had to
because
move.
so that's not existing H fund, so then it must dump into that actual account. So that's why it shows what was spent. It wasn't budgeted.
So it's a
for.
couple of different, that number didn't ring a
Yeah,
bell, so
yeah.
I was, okay. Thank you.
All right, so we'll go to sewer, page 243.
Chair.
Councilmember Vera?
Revenues appear flat, 23 to 24. Actually, there's a slight decrease of a couple $1,000. But we're increasing the revenue projections by about well, 500,000 from actual revenues received in 23 and 24. Are we entertaining an increase in the rate? Is there?
Yes, I believe we're moving to 75% of the water rate versus 70%, I believe it was prior.
Okay. So the sewer rate is going up this year.
Yep.
From 70% of the water to 75.
75 is proposed, yes.
I think, and one note about the, through all of our, dealings with the DEC and some of the, ongoing problems we have with the current sewer system, we have to make some, capital upgrades to pipes, pipe replacements. We need to continue with like an aggressive CCTV program to, capture more imaging on the inside of the pipe so we can check out the pipe quality, things like that.
Let me know if you ever need someone to play around with that.
You got it.
Yeah.
I do, if I may just jump into, because this is another area that just, thank you so much to Andrew, the team up there, because there's just been so many of these long standing issues from DEC, notices of violations that go back a decade or so, that they're kind of what's it, the chickens coming home to roost or whatever that saying is. But where we're at the point, the DEC says we get it, new administration, some new leadership even up at the water plant, but enough's enough. So that's the camera system through the sewers, that's our sludge lagoons, that's issues at the landfill. I mean, the list goes on and on. We've had a slew of meetings with the DEC, with DPU, the mayor, myself, as a team. The good thing is they do want to work with us. They want to get us to compliance. We want to get there too, but it was just a lot of stuff for a long time that was really got blew off. That's finally getting addressed now. So I can't, my words won't be enough. And I know that the mayor, I echo what she's saying here, when I really talk about what Andrew does on a daily basis. It's just the DEC issues alone should be possibly 2 staff members just working on that, on top of lead pipes, on top of running stuff, all those different things. So another good job to you, Andrew, and the team, because it's a lot, and we've even started, since we've dove into it head deep here, we are making some headway, and it's a lot to work with and oversee, and long nights and all of that. So I just want to say thank you to Andrew, the team, and I look forward to getting those notice of violations down. So
You're welcome, and thank you. Yeah, and just like a good example of that was, we have, I think it's like between 150 and 160 miles of sewer piping in the city, through the consent order with the DEC, the long-term control plan, and everything with the other communities. All of that was supposed to be cameraed and inspected and reviewed before 2016. That's in the previous asset management plan. That had a bunch of other things in it too. And just, we got some of that work done, but it's now the DEC is saying, it's really time to get down to business, get everything cameraed. We have some known trouble spots to, line some piping, do some direct, replacement. So we're going to put some money towards that through that increase. And, it's a worthy cause.
This is an investment for long term. We're not going to put Band-Aids on our infrastructure anymore. We're investing into the long term. And very quickly on the DEC note, I do want to say thank you to DEC. It literally, like Seamus and Andrew have stated, years of saying we're going to do this, saying we're going to address this, not addressing it. They have been in our office at least 3 times. When I say they, all the way from the regional director on down to staff folks. They're working with us because they see our commitment. So they're holding off on some violations, some that just wasn't done from, like Andrew said, 2016, 2017, whether it be Wright Lake, whether it be Bradley Lake, our dams, you name it, our landfill. The list goes on, but we now, and they know, we are committed to making this happen for long-term sustainability and addressing these long-term issues.
Do we have any other questions on page 243? Right, we'll go on to page 244. Do we have any questions on appropriations? All right. Go to page 245 or 246. Any questions on page 246? We will go to 248. Sanitary sewers, any questions on 248?
Chair,
Councilmember Vera?
I see an increase in consulting services, 409. What is it, $36,000? And it looks like historically in 24, we spent 105. Okay, now in 23, we spent 153. What is that line item used for the?
Some of that actually just plays into what we were talking about with the DEC violations. I've used that funding in the past, for consulting work
Oh,
for the
okay.
CCTV camera inspections, if we need to like.
Oh, I thought you guys had that tool.
We do, but some of these lines are a little more complicated, you know, if we're
I
getting into
gotcha.
like, say like some of the larger brick sewers, they have a better, like the one with like the wheels on it that you can drive around that's
Yeah.
has more aggressive
Yeah.
tires than the one that we have per se.
All terrain, got it.
Yes, exactly.
Right, do we have any other questions on 248? All right, we'll go on to 249. Any questions on 249? All right, 250. Any questions on 250?
Chair,
Councilmember Vera?
salary savings, and then I guess the same comment. We have 4 vacancies. Are those new? Have we been kind of living with those all year? I guess what's the story?
Yeah. Yeah, so at least for the sewer maintenance person, the grade 8, I've had 3 open positions there. I think even since last year, the year before, I think you'll see that even in last year's budget.
Yep.
Those are the CDLB.
DDLs.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions on 251?
Chair, the
Councilmember Vera?
salary savings.
Yeah. So there are a couple deferred dates. One laborer deferred till August. And one sewer maintenance person deferred until July of 26. And then there's one contractual step increase that there's a very small savings there.
All right, and that gets us to the 47,000.
Yes.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Welcome.
All right, 251. Any questions on that? All right, we'll go to page 253. Do we have any questions on 253?
Chair.
Councilmember Vera?
I guess this goes along with the last fund, the water fund. So there's about 750,000 worth of capital projects on 253, 900. What were those? If you don't mind reminding us what those projects were.
I am not sure at the moment until we pull it up on the screen here.
Okay.
That's a totally different amount. It is?
It's the same spot though,
Yeah,
in sewer,
Yeah.
that it wasn't water, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
No,
But it's a different amount, so
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
totally
wondering, I
unrelated.
was with another seven.
Yes, correct, yeah.
We have a question. Are there runs in?
Were these the lagoons
I've been-
or orthophosphate?
was,
One of those rings a bell, right?
yeah.
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 Sorry, that's what I was just gonna say. I want to say that this is, again, it's the lagoons and vehicles, I
Yeah.
believe.
Mm.
Oh, so not orthophosphate then? Or possibly, we're not sure.
I don't think it would be, and I don't think orthophosphate would be in the sewer either, because that's a water.
Oh, that
that'd
is
be
a water.
Yes, I
purification
would,
thing.
Right.
But I want to say lagoon, because that
The
is
lagoons,
you
right,
could say
okay.
is a
Mm.
kind of under a sewer issue.
Mhm.
In vehicles.
All right. And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Thank you. We'll move right along if that's okay. Bill Keel will run the science and technology
Page.
hearings.
Good.
What page are we going to, Bill?
77. I believe is where we're starting. Yes. Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yes.
Well, as Chair, as Ome makes his way up here and Andrew does depart, I know that we've given a lot of thank yous to the folks, Andrew at the plant, making sure we're getting clean water, but just can't forget our guys and our girl, shout out Big T out there, at 1 o'clock in the morning, making sure our water turns on. And I mean, being with them at water main breaks, seeing how they operate, we really should just be so proud of this workforce. Some of these guys, their fathers worked here, their legacy, they know these lines like the back of their hands. It really is something to see watching them work. So just don't want to move on to the next until we give all of them a real shout out. They do a tremendous amount of work.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Yeah, can we take 5?
Take 5.
Me.
Thank you, Chair.
Um, I like it, man.
Yeah. The Italian women, they take over.
Okay, we're set to roll here.
We are.
We shall now commence the meeting here on science and technology. We're on page 77 to start out with. And we're going to be hearing from Omaid, and I was just told that I should never pronounce last names, especially Italian last names, wrong, but Omaid, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna try. Anyway, we have like 4 areas of technological work that Omaid is overseeing. And I'd like to hear Omaid give like a synopsis of each of the 4 areas of expertise. He's looking over the city hall here. He's looking over the fire department. He's looking over the police department, and then also the water in our city and the whole water plant. So with no further ado, we're going to introduce Omaid. And Omaid, will you give us your last name, please? Or pronounce it. I know your last name, but only by sight.
I just want to say, and Seamus, myself, all of us were just complimenting these folks. Omaid is one of those folks. It really is turning the department around. He's addressing just very, very long-term issues that should have been addressed a long time ago, firewalls, you name it. But really, it was a good catch by Omaid. He came from the county, then private sector, back to the public sector with us. We're very fortunate to have landed him. So, Omaid, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. So the last name is Yusufzai.
Thank you.
I'll give you 3 more. I'll give you 3 more shots. As Mr. Keel mentioned, when I took over, there were like a lot of outdated infrastructure, including server and networking gear. The biggest problem we had at the time was with the water department. They were using like really old networking gear, and according to the Federal Cybersecurity Agency, water department and the grid system is like the most vulnerable asset nationwide. They are constantly under attack, and the foreign threat actors, they're just trying to expose any vulnerabilities that's out there to harm residents and obviously the government. So our focus was to take action quickly and start remediating some of those vulnerabilities, which we did. We put new firewalls. These are like the next generation firewall that gives us more visibility in the network if somebody unauthorized is trying to access the network, if somebody is copying data out of the network for any reason, or if we are getting any sort of anybody that's not authorized is accessing our network from within the country or outside the country. So those are the steps we took immediately to try to fix those issues. After that, we spent a lot of time on the police department network. We were running into a lot of same scenario where we had switches. They were so old that we didn't even have credentials to log into them to see what firmware or software or operating system version they're running. There were a lot of broken pieces of equipment. They were just sitting on rack from years and years of vendors coming and putting their equipment and plugging into any power outlet they had, they can see, and there was wires running all over the ground. We took like a lot of before and after pictures. So someday, if we have time, I'll present that to you. We cleaned up a lot of old vulnerable servers, networking gear from there. That also includes we were we had a lot of equipments here at citywide, and they were running Windows 7, Windows 10 workstation for the local end users. We end up cleaning up those also. We have upgraded almost 99% of those to Windows 11. Windows 10 just reached end of life like about 2 days ago, so they are not supported anymore. So we made sure to just beat that deadline and upgrade as much as possible. The work is still not done. We have so much to do. It's still with the new fire station at Lanzenberg. We're working with the chief to see what we can do to put on a good network for them. We have another 4 fire stations that are in really bad need of upgrade. So we're trying to find out what would be the easiest or and most reasonable cost to upgrade those and give them a better access to the 911 dispatch and the main fire stations network. So these are just a few of the many stuff we are working on. We also contracted with the New York State Cyber Agency, and they gave us a 3 years of CrowdStrike, which is an MDR system, which is basically an antivirus that we put on every machine, and it is monitored 24/7 by CrowdStrike SOC, which is the Security Operations Center. So if any unauthorized access or if anything bad happens in the network, they will notify us. So it's like alarm system for your house type of a thing. So those are just a few things that we have accomplished so far. One of the biggest achievement was to sign up with Microsoft to set up immutable backups. And those were like very important because of the nature of the backups we have here at the city. Microsoft partnered with one of the backup provider, Veeam, that we have been using their product for backups. And they provide us cloud storage for immutable backups in case we lose the city to a tsunami or a terrorist attack, or even like whatever reason, we will still have like backup in the cloud. I mean, we are ready. Like if we ever run into a situation where we have where we will be able to restore servers from the cloud backup. So that was another thing we set up for our network.
Any questions from our council?
Chair.
Councilman Burr.
You called it immutable backup?
Yes, sir.
So like, does that mean like it's not subject to like a ransomware attack or something like that?
Correct. So first of all, we have set it up with a very complicated encryption key. So even if the threat actor tried to get to it, they will need that encryption key to decrypt the data. And even if they decrypt it, they will still be not able to make any changes because it's going to be immutable for anywhere from a year to 10-year, 5-year, whatever time frame we stamp on it. Even we can even change it. So if we say we want this to be immutable for 5 years, then it will be immutable for 5 years. It won't be changed at all. That was the sole purpose of that. Was ransomware was the only.
Yeah, I've just heard.
Yeah,
I do some work with other municipalities, and a
Yeah.
couple of them have been hit with ransomware attacks. And
Yeah.
at least one, they basically they got into the system and they waited a year until all of the backups were corrupted.
absolutely.
And
yes.
that's when they launched the attack. And at that point, they couldn't restore anything because it wiped everything out.
Absolutely. So we have. I have also set up some firewall rules. So what they do is they compromise the network. They start navigating around the network without you even noticing them. And what they do is once they have the complete knowledge of the network, they start copying your data off your network before they encrypt it. And that's how they hold their ransom. They're like, you gotta pay us, or we will publish it, or we will sell your data to a third party. So the firewall rule we have created, if the backup, if the copy is reached to a certain threshold, we will get an alert saying, hey, there's beyond the threshold amount of data is being copied. So we will know that.
Anyone else?
Chair,
Who said that?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
Did you say that the water systems are most vulnerable?
Yep, water plants and the power grid, the grid system is the most,
Hmm.
number one on the.
But, and you've been, that's been done, right? You've,
We have, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we put the next generation firewall in both the water department and the main water department and the water department, the garage they have, because they do interconnect with each other. So we put those two new firewalls there. We also put new switches there. They had couple servers. They were really outdated. They are both upgraded to the latest version. We patch them every first or second Tuesday of the month. So they get the latest security updates. Plus, we have the Falcon agent on them in case if there's a vulnerability, if there's any unauthorized access to it, we will get notifications on them. We try our best. I mean, it's like in IT, especially, there's no 100% guarantee. I mean, we try to be as close as to 100%. But we get beat by hackers once in a while because of a patch has a vulnerability itself, and we don't find out until like weeks or months later. So
thank you.
Yeah, I got a question for you, or actually it's for all here. We're contemplating a big move here, and what is I guess I have two questions. What is the future potential for when and if we do move into the new city hall? And then what are we doing in the meantime here? Are we focusing more on the fire department and the police department and water? Go ahead.
So the plan was for the city hall. My personal plan was to start upgrading the city hall as well. Like other departments, city hall is also in a really bad need of upgrade, especially with some of the switches we have here, like extremely old, and the Wi-Fi network is very spotty. Like a lot of our end user complain every day about those. So some of them have even given up on them. The plan was to start upgrading the city hall, and then when I heard about the new city hall, I put a pause on it. Obviously, we're gonna start buying some new gears for the new city hall, so it made sense to not buy the same devices twice and then end up not using one. So the plan is to hold off on the upgrade, and then once we start purchasing for the new city hall, I'll just get put in for some new gears for the new city hall. That way we can decommission the old one here and move on to the new ones.
All right. Any other comment on that?
Well, and I was going to say this at the end too, but just to say again, thank you to OMAID, part of our working group for the new permanent city hall. Our IT team has, been in the old Proctors, has walked around several times. And when we first took on this idea of moving to the new permanent home, one of the first things we definitely thought of was IT, because not only in where we are right here on our floor, and we've outgrown that and different things. It's very tough Wi-Fi, spotty and stuff, all the way from printer problems to everything else. So, we wanted to make sure that not only that the transition is smooth, because we can't really even lose a minute of loss of connection, but what is technology like 20, 25 years, 30 years from now? How can we make sure that the city, they don't say, why didn't they do this back when they moved? So OMAID, the IT team, BIS has been crucial to that. And it will be something that we'll see that's another, plus and improvement going there, because some of the stuff that we have to do now, we're constricted here. Now moving into that new space, we have an opportunity to really kind of upgrade and even see into the future, which is great. And just one other thing, since I'm talking right now too, and just to echo what the mayor said about OMAID, and we have a great BIS team that's been here for a while too, but OMAID is, 2:00 in the morning, if something is off at the firehouse or the police department, he's there in a skip. Like most of us, we handle everything from the small to the big, where OMAID's in my office trying to help me make the printer work, to trying to figure out a complete new network for our city hall. We're even set up that much more for success with OMAID, because He has a background in his former career at Rensselaer County, Plug Power, of being involved in actual moves. So we really lucked out, not only just that he's got phenomenal work ethic, knows what he's talking about, but that he's got experience with that too. So that really helps with the future move to our new permanent city hall.
Chair,
Yes.
would you show us where in the budget you have budgeted for these upgrades?
All right, well, let's
So,
get to that.
the upgrade for the new city hall?
The upgrades that you just discussed. I'm assuming that you're doing some upgrades
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
Now,
We at the city hall, when I started, we had about 75 servers that were hosting a variety of applications. What I did was I went through every single one of them. There were a bunch that were not in production anymore. They were just spinning, locking up resources. We have shrunk down the overall number of servers to 45, which has given us the ability to use that money and upgrade the existing ones to a newer version. With the police department, we have upgraded their firewall and also a bunch of switches. They were able to come up with the funding through a cybersecurity grant. Captain Kylie and myself have been working very closely since I started here, and just recently we invested they invested some money. I did the work for the new network for the SOS, which is a substation in South Troy, I would say. Is it? Sorry, not too familiar with that side, but that's another area that we did. The NEC arena, obviously, when it came up, we had chiller that needed to be hooked up to our existing Siemens infrastructure. We had to put some firewall and switches there to make that connection and also enable the people that work there to be able to take customers and also perform their daily task on the computers. The water department, they came up with the funding for the new firewall and the new switches. After I had a meeting with Andrew, I explained it to him the necessity for moving on to a newer generation of networking and server gears, and they came up with the funding, and we did that. The fire department, my first long weekend was Saturday morning. I got a call from the chief that they are down none of their stations. All the 5 substations are not able to communicate with them, and they're not able to communicate out to the Rensselaer County Public Safety. After investigation, I found out their firewall was completely dead. So I had to come back to the city hall, and I found something to replace it and get them up and running for the day. And then after we got back to the normal week, I had a discussion with them, let them know what's going on. Due to the vintage of the hardware they were using was very common for them to die. So he came up with some funding to get new infrastructure gears so we can put in. Yeah, so that was another, also with the security cameras and everything. We have been working with the police department trying to expand their existing radius to more cameras so they can have more visibility beyond the downtown area. That's another project we're working on. Yep, so we got a grant, and that's how they're able to expand on their existing infrastructure for the cameras.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, that leads us to all this paperwork to look at and the numbers, and we're gonna look at page 77 and 78. We have expenditure summary over here and expenditures in detail. Any questions?
Chair,
Councilman Barry?
I see an increase of 105,000 for dues and subscriptions. What's that for?
Yeah, unfortunately, last year when I was here, I did brought that up that we are going to be seeing a lot of costs going up. And this is unfortunately it had us to one of our vendor we work with. We have their software. It's called VMware. It's owned by Broadcom. They had a 300% increase. 300% increase. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a pretty,
it is. Yeah.
I don't know that much about it, but
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
please
a pretty
look at-
popular piece of software.
It is
Not
VMware,
very-
yes, absolutely. So Dell used to own it. They sold it to Broadcom for, I think, $52 billion. And I
Yeah.
think Broadcom wants to make their money in no time. So they raise it across the board everywhere from 300% to 500%.
That's what allows you to run multiple servers on one physical piece of hardware.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one.
Is there a
Yep.
competitor to them?
There is. So I actually had I went to a conference in New Jersey. There's another company called Hyper-V is a product. It's owned by Microsoft.
That's the one I've heard.
So I looked at that, and they have partnered with another company called Lenovo that provides the hardware, the servers. We looked into those as well, and the only problem we have right now is we have the city spent a lot of money in 2021 on the existing city hall servers and the networking piece of it, and it won't expire until 2027. So that's why the hold is. And there were a couple other things with Hyper-V that does not meet our requirement right now. So that's another thing that we're trying to see if we can work around it. But we have been looking for a replacement.
So then all of our servers currently use VMware.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
That server was upgraded in 21. That licensing will expire in 27.
And 27,
So then
the license.
you might have to buy a new physical piece of infrastructure, but be able to save on the software side. What happens in 27?
So in 27, we have paid the licensing, maintenance, and everything else for it. So that's servers that's here, the three, it's a cluster of 3 servers. And then we have another one that runs KVS, so that we have 4 here at the city hall. And then we have 1 each in water department, fire department, and the police department. So a total of 7. The other plan was to run dedicated fiber. I also work with a couple of our local ISPs to see if they can give us a pricing on fiber. If it's affordable enough for us, we can run dedicated fiber across these networks and then consolidate those hardware into one and maybe just bring everybody to the city hall instead of each one having their own servers. That was another plan. And that what it will do is it will cut from 156 core licenses to maybe 70. So we will cut the price into half. So that was plan B. But still, we haven't made a decision. We're just looking into like maybe there's a better plan C out there. So we have meetings with vendors. They bring products up, and we just don't think it's going to be wise enough for us to invest that much money in them. So we have a couple of years. Hopefully, we'll come up with something by then. In addition, a bunch of our other subscriptions, they have also gone up. So it's not just the Broadcom piece. Other have gone anywhere from 3 to 7%. So absolutely, yeah. We have also consolidated a bunch of services. We had a cybersecurity tool that we didn't use, and the city was paying for them. So I discontinued that one. The CrowdStrike piece is going to take care of that. And also we were paying about, I don't know how much, but we had the antivirus that we were paying out of our city budget. And that was also disconnected discontinued because we have CrowdStrike, and the state grant is paying for that.
Chair,
Councilman Brosnan?
do you foresee any more 300 to 500% increases in the upcoming future?
I hope not, but you never know.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so over here actually we are getting public sector pricing. So our pricing is not as bad as private because before coming here we at Plug Power we had gotten the notice that it's gonna go up anywhere from 250 to 350% up. And over there we were talking about in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for licensing. So yeah, it is wild.
Mhm. Chair,
Yes, Councilman Spain clear.
the rentals and equipment, can you talk about what that is that we're budgeting for?
Absolutely. So we have a piece of well, it's a printer that does the it folds the paper for the envelopes, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know much about it. I had to sign off on it. Mike, who does our paperwork for these stuff, he told me that's what it is for the $3,000 we have allocated for it. It also includes like maintenance if it's goes bad or if needs some sort of maintenance. I think it's covered through that also.
Okay, thank you.
Ready? That wraps those pages up. We've got health insurance on the next page and personnel summary on the following page. We'll look at those two if we have any questions on that. Looks like we have 5 people total working on the team.
That's right. Sir.
Okay. Any questions? All right, this pretty much wraps it up. I want to thank you for coming forth, sharing an update here on
Thank you.
everything I made, and
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
just you're working with seems to think you're doing an absolutely great job.
I appreciate it. Thank
and,
you.
And I appreciate your personal approach to things.
Thank you so much. And actually, one more thing, I'm bringing all the bad news today. We also, because of AI, we're gonna see some price increases for next year. The problem is a lot of these workstation, the computers we are using today, they don't have a special chip that would handle that AI piece. A lot of companies are moving to the AI platform like Adobe and Microsoft. And so what that chip does is it provides enough horsepower for these applications to be able to process AI data. So before we had the core and like processor speed, then came out the GPU, which is the graphical side of it. Now there's a new chip called NPU, which will handle the AI portion of these softwares. So it's coming out more into the desktops, the end user workstations. And the price difference is going to be anywhere from 200 to 500, depending on the type of hardware we will be ordering. Plus, it's going to probably come into the server and the networking aspect of it soon. So that's something.
Prepare yourselves.
Prepare yourself.
Do you,
Alrighty, thank you very much.
I was going to just ask Ryan's question. Do you feel like your budget is adequate to cover that during this year?
Yes, so it is right now, but it's unpredictable. Maybe something will change the next year. A lot of companies, they come up with a new pricing model like end of the year or beginning of every year. So as of right now, we have everything according to the existing price. Maybe it will go up or not. So that's something I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Our next hearing will be run by the Planning Committee, and that consists of
Not me.
council members Keel, Brosnan, and Vera. And you are the chair. Councilperson Brosnan will take us away.
What page are you on?
158.
I'm sorry, 158.
Yep, pendants, we're all here. I got 150, I'm not doing it. Yeah, maybe.
We never do anything.
Oh.
57. We always,
Say you were wrong.
we always fast forward.
I think so. Yeah.
Planning and
Certainly.
planning and community development. Yeah, because
You lost the crowd.
Carolyn is here
Economic development.
and Danae. Carolyn and Danae.
Mass is that. I mean, I'm.
1,000? I can be able to leave it when I got off, so there's no bill. I don't even know how to see the.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, all right, let's get this moved.
Pete, we're getting that tracker. DPP is definitely one. He watches every week.
All right, welcome in. Thank you all for joining us. Sorry to pull you away and keep you out so long. Do you want to do an overview of what's going on?
Mostly talked about that, during the Capitol. So we'll, let, Carolyn, Janae, Planning, Economic Development, as you know, Randy, moved on, he retired for the third time. But, his wife made him, he, literally the past year, and I'll let Danae go into that for a couple minutes. But Randy closed a number of grants, one which was a long time overdue. But I'll let Danae talk about that. But Randy really focused on the organization and just closing grants in the department. And we are looking for a planning commissioner. Obviously, though, we're not looking for someone who is, say coming up with like pie in the sky projects. We really want someone who's going to continue what Randy left, focusing on the organization, the department, grant writing, in closing grants, and honestly, getting projects done. So a lot of the projects we'll talk about in the capital plan, Congress Ferry, things like that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you on
sure.
that. Are we planning on using a headhunter? We've had great success so far. Wondering if you want to do that again.
So we have yes, we did get such a great, who did we find with a headhunter? He's awesome. Yeah. But so that same headhunter actually on a little bit of a lower scale than what we engaged them with for Mike. We have we have engaged them to find a planning commissioner as well. Not the same exact arrangement that it was for Mike, frankly. There's different levels that you can engage them with. But from kind of generating simple posts and stuff like that, we have utilized that. We've received some candidates. Some are good, and we're just working through that.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
Brian, want to start on
Page 1. Yeah, 157, 157, 158. Anyone have any questions on 157, 158? No. Danae, we're using the postage. It's not hugely over budget, but it is. You budgeted for $450 for postage. We're at $540. Then we're budgeting for $360.
Yeah, we've had a little back and forth with the postage between our regular planning department items and the planning and zoning mailings that have to go out every month. So we've kind of been using both lines for postage. You've had some new staff and they weren't sure which line to use, so they were picking from the pot that we weren't planning on using. So we had to move a couple dollars back and forth just to keep them covered. I'm kind of waiting until next month until that settles, because they've been using the other account. So I want to make sure that it's not going to incur any more charges before we cover that negative amount. Next year, going forward, they all know to use the one account.
That's good. Thank you.
That's our most exciting action on our budget, by the way, the postage.
Councilman Vera.
Might I suggest that for the planning and zoning boards, that the city not pick up the tab for postage and that the applicants pick that up? That's how it generally works everywhere else. When it comes to the mailings and things that are required, Most other towns just require the applicant to sign an affidavit that says we did mail whatever needed to be mailed to
Okay.
whoever it needed to be mailed to. And they pick up the cost of that. So
Okay,
it also takes workload off of planning staff that I'm sure have better things to do. So
that could explain why it was at $200, because I always wondered why it dipped down, but maybe that was something they had talked about trying to do before.
Yeah.
And it might not have been implemented. Is that something that needs a written change anywhere, or is that just,
No.
that's for the administration to determine. It's just a suggestion.
no, it's a good
Yeah.
one.
I-
Well, that-
Oh, just to chime in, because it's a good little segue. So we do some of the planning staff is doing a review and comparison of our planning fees, comparing them to other municipalities. That's something we plan on reviewing, even in the next couple weeks, just to make sure from some general understanding that I have, that we might be, some of our application fees are lower compared to other municipalities.
Yeah, they're too low.
They're too low. So,
Yeah.
and I believe you've even mentioned that in the past. So that's something that we're reviewing and look forward to, most likely seeing an adjustment there as well. And since I have the microphone, another thing to point out that we were looking into is a way to streamline the application process online. So it tracks it. We had a demo of a system that even if you don't submit all the appropriate paperwork, it won't let you submit. Some might be familiar with our planning staff has to constantly call applicants and say, hey, you didn't pay your fee. Are you going to get on the meeting? It just adds a lot of unnecessary work. So we're definitely looking to tighten up that process, get the fees equivalent to other comparable municipalities, and to streamline all of that process compared to where it is now.
Albany just released a new system it seems really nice. It also seems like it's probably very expensive. But it might be worth taking a look at that just to see how that works. There might be a competitor, there might be but
Yeah, and
it's worth a look.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And the service we were looking at, I don't recall it feeling really expensive, but I can't off the top of my head tell you the price. But no, we want to make sure how comparable how that works. So thank you for that point.
Yeah, and just to follow that, we do plan to do an RFP for that service that Shane talked about, because the demo was fabulous. It really wasn't that expensive. So I do think it's from a Hudson Valley firm. And we talked to Rick. Rick said you have to put out an RFP. We couldn't piggyback. But it is something real time where the applicants can actually go online and update projects and things like that and be much more efficient. Randy really wanted to get that in the works, but he ended up retiring before doing that. So.
Chair.
I miss who asked. Say, Council Member Spain McLaren.
Could you talk about the jump in the consultant services? Well, I shouldn't say jump. I should say it hasn't been used yet.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of services that we're currently setting up the requisitions for now. They're end of the year items that we pay for.
Gotcha.
One of them was a renewal of a grant program, and the paperwork and the whole process took a little bit longer. So now we're gonna invoice that in October,
Okay,
which is now.
thanks.
Yep.
Chair.
Councilman Vera.
Are you guys still using building blocks?
Yeah.
Is it paid for out of that account or the one above it?
The one above it is building blocks.
Okay.
Yep.
No, you want to give a brief overview for Council President of what building blocks is?
Sure.
That's what she said. She said, is it Legos?
So like,
I said,
Legos is
no,
what I said.
not.
I'm-
But
It's
then I
actually-
thought I don't really have a good way to describe what it is.
Yeah, I'm not
either.
sure I do either, but it is, I can see why it's called building blocks. It takes, information from, parcel information and some code enforcement information. It started out for vacant building registry and, to track those. But it all the information and charts and everything, they all talk together in the background. So it kind of you can fine tune how you search it. It's really good for grants, especially because you can pick and choose the data that you want, and then it'll create a graph or a map even of what you're trying to look for. But it really pulls information from all the other map layers that we get from the clearinghouse and puts it into one spot. And it's really helpful for code enforcement, especially because it links all of the owners of properties together, even if they have different names and LLCs. It'll find a common like mailing address or something, and it'll realize that it's the same person. So it'll say Joe Schmo, 7 properties, all different names, but it's able to make it really concise and yeah, it's
Thank
really
you.
helpful.
And anything else? All right, let's move on. 159, 160 expenditures and personnel summary. We already covered commissioner planning, just to remind everybody. Any other questions there? Let's move on. 161, 162, moving on to planning and economic development, zoning planning board expenditures.
If you're wondering what the 1,000s, if you recall, we did 5 playing boards, 2 alternates. We have 1 alternate and another soon to be appointed. So there's 1 alternate and 1 vacant alternate. We have not had to use the alternate yet.
Any questions? Or are we going to move on to planning and CDBG? All right, let's move on to planning and CDBG, page 165, expenditures.
You're up, Carol. We know better than that.
Oh, yeah. We make money on there. I'll give you money. I don't take it.
Chair,
President Steele?
Carolyn, what are you hearing for next year? Fingers crossed.
Fingers.
Uh-huh.
Right now, right now, the only thing that is affecting us is the draws, but we've got all of our big draws done in mid-September. Just in case it could happen, so we're not getting them any money, gonna have to wait. So hopefully they get through this quicker too, and then all our new money we can start drawing out.
Hopefully.
That's
Right. Thanks.
But fingers crossed that, so far it looks like they're slowly putting the money into the budget to follow. I don't think it's yet. I have a 5-year plan, you can't cut me now.
That's right. There you go. I have no questions.
Nothing? All right.
You are exciting, see?
Any questions on the personnel summary? No? All right. Yeah.
All right, I
That's
would
so
say
much.
this concludes our evening of budget hearings.
Council President, if I may, I know we all do want to get out of here, but I just want to say a couple of things both about Carolyn and Danae. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. Danae has really takes so much on. We often joke about she's a a glutton for punishment a little bit, always taking something on, seeing things through. Tremendously helped Randy in closing out a lot of grants. I will never forget first walking in here and seeing the conference table of planning all over, everything all over the place, trying to figure out different grants. So another thing that folks might not realize about Danae, she's the secretary for a lot of our boards, LDC, IDA. She's part of the LDC staff. That requires a lot of work and effort prepping all those meetings. Some of us have all those tomorrow. So Danae is always, steps up every time you ask her to do anything. And she has a lot of different functions that people won't know. So thank you so much for that, Danae. And Carolyn's department runs very smooth without a hitch. She was very crucial making sure we were getting reimbursed for our code enforcement officers with a couple other different efforts. So just thank you both for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Also,
Motion
thank
to
you for
adjourn?
getting the
Second.
new budget out.
All in favor?
Appreciate it.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Tap, tap.
We don't have another meeting?
Yeah, sure. I had no idea. But no, I'm glad it. Oh, yeah. Monthly. It is nothing changed, right?